Welcome to the latest CADS chat. I'm Stuart Woodrow, and today we're diving into the aftermath of Brighton's clash with Tottenham Hotspur, a match that left many of us scratching our heads in disbelief, sadly. We've gathered here to dissect what went wrong, what could have been done differently, and where we go from here. So grab a cuppa, settle in, and let's unravel the mysteries of this unexpected turn of events on the pitch. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for future Spurs content. Let's get started. Gents, these ones after a match are not quite so much fun, I feel. After a loss, after a general match, because we've been winning more than we've been losing this season, it's been all right. But with the injuries, everything that's been going on, these difficult, painful ones, they're a little bit harder to do, I feel. So I'm hoping that you guys can lift me a little bit and introduce some positivity into this. So,
Hands out. Sell Johnson. Get rid of Cooley. Son's finished. Get rid of Romero. Get rid of all of them. Fire them all. I want a whole new team in the transfer window.
Well, it's a whole new team, a whole new medical team, a brand new training ground, apparently, is also the issue. A new chairman, obviously, because he's responsible for all of the hamstring issues that we've been suffering from. But yeah, fun. What a fun period it's been. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Okay. Yay. So I think we finished. Should we wrap up?
Well, we'll get on to what everybody thought of the game and how things went. But we have been joined by someone else. A is just connecting up. Yeah, A is coming.
Hey.
So, for everybody that's just listening to this on audio, A is a member of our forum who joins us in occasionally. He's an enigma. He is mysterious. He goes by the letter A. But yes. So A, I was just saying that these match talks straight after a losing match is a little bit more difficult than when the ones where we've just trounced the opposition. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's horrible. I want to crawl up in a bed. I don't want to look at my Spurs mugs. But I guess we're all in the same boat. We can share our problems.
I think that's why we're here. We can all just share the pain, have a cathartic. And we're not going to do the screaming thing. I'm not into that, and I don't think my wife and children would appreciate it at this time of the evening. So
I'll definitely get a telling off if I do that.
You might do, yeah.
Yeah.
But she might with COVID. She may not be able to talk very much. So.
Oh dear, and it's a bit later here as well. So I'm doubt my neighbors would enjoy it.
Do you know? We didn't have any losses in the first 10 games. In the second 9 games, we now have 5 losses, 3 wins and a draw in the second 9 games, 10 on the weekend. I think this really is. I think that first 10 games flattered to deceive us all, and we were all a little bit more gung-ho. If we'd started off a little bit more 50-50, which is kind of like what we have been playing in the last 9 games, or even less than that, then we maybe would have more realistic expectations. Part of my positivity comes from I see it as a rebuild year, and the results probably, because we're expecting, they're all coming back, they're all going to be healthy. We're going to get those, as you said, Stu, get them in first week, and they'll be up and running right away, even if they've never played in the Premier League before. With hoping for a lot of very positive things. My thing, I'm not expecting negative things, but my expectations are just under control. Is that, this is a rebuild. He's going to have to, which should have been done a few years ago, start from square one. And it might even actually take the whole season. And top 4 seems a little bit out. Europe maybe. So anyway, I'm staying positive because I like the football when we are playing it. And let's see how the second half of the season goes.
Yeah, I mean, we're not doing great at the moment, but we're still bimbling around 5th at the moment, which is not a bad position to be in. Certainly, we're one point behind Man City, who've played a game less. We are 3 points behind Aston Villa, who much more settled side, more settled in terms of management. No one calling for the chairman's head week on, week out. So I think there's definite positivity, and we've had so many problems with injuries and so many players who are out suspended or injured. We've got effectively a full team out injured at the moment right now, even if we're talking about playing Austin in goal in that team, so maybe it wouldn't be the strongest. There's so many things you can look at and say, right, this is the problem, this is the problem. And as Ange Postecoglou himself said, there's only so many times you can go to the well and ask for them to dig deep and pull something out. Maybe it was just a case of so many games catching up with them and they're just tired. And honestly, it kind of looked like it. I mean, I felt worse yesterday than I do today. It's a little bit of reality has crept in, and I'm okay. We can have bad games. It's fine. It'll work out, and I'm still very positive long term. But I'm same time, even before yesterday, there were people complaining and it's like, oh, the medical team, we should fire them all. Daniel Levy should have known we were going to get all these injuries, and so therefore should have had another 6 players brought in over the summer. We had a huge overhaul over the summer. So to then say, oh, we should have brought extra players as well, I think it's just a bit crazy. I know earlier in the season,
I think we've performed above what we were expecting so far this season.
Yeah.
Even with last night's result, I think it's going to be really complicated until at least the end of January. Got the African Nations Cup. We've got the Asian Cup coming up. We've got even more players out with injuries and suspensions. So basically, I'm more or less writing off everything until the 31st of January. Anything we get out of it is a plus.
1st of January, 1st of February.
Sorry?
1st of January or 1st of February?
No, end of January.
Yeah.
End of January, 1st of February.
Yeah. When we come back from the international break, then, hopefully we'll have Van der Ven back, we'll have Madison back. Some players will hopefully have had a bit of a rest. But, from the injuries standpoint, I mean, as far as I'm aware, injuries in top clubs across the top 5 leagues are up across all clubs. They had a short break between the end of last season and the start of this season, where again, we're paying for that ridiculous World Cup in winter. I think we're still paying for it. And then, we haven't helped ourselves with a bit of a lack of discipline, because we're not only fighting injuries, but we're also fighting discipline. And, one of the few things that I'm very irritated about last night is that stupid yellow card and penalty from Kulu. But again, I think it's just tired players doing stupid things.
I think players being asked to do stuff that they're not naturally up for doing. I don't think Kulu's a natural defender. So you ask him to mark a player, he's going to do something silly at some point, like pull a player's shirt. And he did it against Everton as well, except we got away with it in that one. So, maybe VAR worked for us in our favour every so often. And clearly it did. But again, there's still things that we can complain about. If we're just talking about refereeing, just a quick moan about the refs. Brighton player kicked the ball away after we were given a free kick.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly the same kind of challenge that saw Udogie get booked against Nottingham Forest happened against one of our players. Absolutely nothing. Lewis Dunk went over the ball, went through the ball, and his studs collided with Kulusevski's ankle. Now that would have been a red card if that was Romero.
Yeah, it would have been, yeah.
Very, very similar to the kind of thing that Basuma got sent off for. A little bit lower maybe, but it was dangerous play. And although I wouldn't have wanted to see him sent off, I did think potentially that should have been looked at VAR. And if you're going to be consistent, he should have been sent off. So,
well, it was looked at.
Where's the consistency?
It was looked at by VAR.
Exactly. They looked at it and they decided that wasn't a red card. But Curtis Jones, Romero, Basuma, all of those ones are red cards, but that one wasn't. How does this? Because it was at least as violent.
I share your sentiments, but I'm also happy he didn't get sent off. So game's lost at that point, and I was thinking they're already a couple of defenders short, and we would like them to take some points of our rivals as well.
Yeah, because they got the Hammers next.
They got them, and and fair play to Moyes and his team. They've done all of us, and they don't play attractive football, but they get results. And I want Brighton to have a shot against them. So I shared your sentiments, but yeah, in the end, I think it's probably a good thing he didn't go for us. I mean, but yeah,
I completely
some
agree
of
with
the inconsistencies, just ridiculous. The lack of
Yeah.
consistency. I'd get fired in my job if I was that inconsistent. And it's a difficult job for them. I'm just saying they have to have some sort of standard that they're being held to. And it's not where it is at the moment, where it should be at the moment. That's just my take on it.
Well, even Ange had a dig, which is, I think, against his personal sort of beliefs, isn't it, to have a go at the refs? But he had a bit of a dig by saying, having a dig about VAR and then having a dig about not spotting that dunk foul. So apparently it seems to be getting to him as well a little bit at last.
I think it must be because against Nottingham Forest there was a clip of him throwing his arms up in the air and being really exasperated. And normally you don't see that from him. He's much calmer on the sidelines, unless we just scored a goal, and then he'll give proper good fist pump and stick his tongue out and look fairly iconic. But he's shouting and raging at the ref and got his arms up. And you're like, well, that's not very Ange-like. And I mean, the refereeing in that game was a mess, so I wasn't majorly surprised.
I wanted to ask a question about Ange and the young players. I see so many young players coming into other teams, and then our fans make excuses. Well, they've already played, or this, or they're that, or they played internationally at the under-19. Our guys have. My question is this: is that given the fact that we, for instance, playing 4 fullbacks in a back 4, and even in midfield, is Ange kind of a little bit like Mourinho and Conte in that he's kind of stubborn about not using untried players because they're there last week, yesterday, the day before, they're on the bench, and I actually would like to see them given a shot. I really, just to get us through this time. Blood them now. Hopefully they'll be used in the future as well. I'm just wondering what you guys think about that, because there's always excuses. Oh, they're too young, or this and that. And I go, what do you mean? Look at the other players. This guy's 17, he's 18, and he's starting and he's scoring. Well, why not?
When you say young players, do you mean like young players like Udogie?
No, other guys. No, he's already in. Talking about guys.
Well, that's my point. Actually, he's already in. He is playing young players.
No, but he came from an internet. He came from a Premier League sort of team in Serie A. I'm talking about replacing the fact that we don't have centre backs, and yet we do under 20 centre backs who are in our academy. Why can't we play them?
Because they haven't played 1 minute of senior football.
But David, that's my point. Other teams go this. Listen, I don't watch other teams, but you hear the commentary go, "Oh, this guy making his debut today." I go, "Why is this 17-year-old and this 18-year-old making their debut? Why aren't we?" Listen, my question is this: is Ange a little too dogmatic in the sense that, I don't want to use that word, maybe not, in the sense that he doesn't or isn't using untried players? Udogie had played already in Serie A, Pedro Porro had played, whatever, Skip had
Johnson.
played. Yeah, Johnson had played. Yeah. Anyway,
I think there's 2 points to consider in answer to your question. The first one is Ange has a history of bringing through younger players.
Yes.
But he brings them through, and he brings them through when they're a more settled side. At the moment, we've got so many injuries. You're talking about throwing a young player, a very young player, 18, 19 years old, in a critical part of the squad, critical part of the team, into what could be a very, very dangerous situation. And you can do more harm than good in a situation like that. The second one, I saw a tweet from Harry Brooks on Twitter today, or x.com, whatever you want to call it, Twitter. And it's worth a follow if people are interested in that kind of thing. And he's a coach, and he was saying there are two positions of ultimate responsibility, and it's difficult to bring players through. The first one is goalkeeper. Very, very difficult to bring through a young goalkeeper without sending them out on loan and getting them experience elsewhere first. The second one is centre-back. And he said, who was the last centre-back to come through in a top 8 club without making their debut and gaining experience somewhere else, either lower down in the top league or in the Championship first?
Tanganga?
Ledley.
But Tanganga came through, but he didn't really solidify a place, did he?
Well,
He's been on loan ever since.
I'm not saying using it as a stick to beat Angeles. I mean, it was again like Mourinho brought him because he didn't have anybody else left.
Yeah.
And he brought him in, he put him in at right back, didn't he?
Yeah. He's played more games
he
at right
did.
back and some at left back as well, so, and centre back.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think Ash has a little bit. I agree with what you've said, Stuart. The centre back's difficult, but there's other places where we could bring them on, where we are running people into the ground.
Yep.
Deki and Son out on their feet. You could see it. It's not the same. And I thought yesterday was a chance for Brian, because as far as physical teams go, that's going to bully you off the ball. That's not really Brighton. And I thought he would get a chance maybe yesterday, just to give Deki a break, freshen it up, and maybe Deki comes on against tiring players and with 20 minutes to go or something, and it's much better. And I was a little bit upset that we didn't play Dyer yesterday.
What did you think about Brian Hill yesterday then?
By the way, Deki has a break.
I thought it was fantastic.
Did you?
He has the same problem that Johnson has, in that he's in front of goal, he wasn't good, but he did everything else really, really well. And I would say that he's also a little bit more technical. And we've been crying out for a tricky winger to change things up. And I thought the subs yesterday were fantastic.
I didn't think he was good
and there's something. I thought he was good. It was better than what we had before that. And the upturn, if you like, was almost happened with the fresh legs. It was fresh legs more than anything that made an upturn in our performance yesterday. And there's not enough being said about that. I mean, yes, you've got people with high workloads and you're asking too much of them, but then you've got to give them a break somewhere. And I think my major problem is the rotation. So we've got to start trusting them. 20 minutes off somewhere here and there could make a hell of a difference. And I think that was my one issue. The other thing is I thought Dyer should have played. And our first half problems, we were shocking in defense. I know we did well against Man City with that defense, but it looked like there was a lack of nous at centre-back. Even if Dyer's not the quickest and he's not in favor anymore, he still knows how to be a centre-back. He knows the basics of a centre-back. And I felt that everything was really unsettled because of that. And we were desperately short in the air. Pedro tried to bully us in the air. Davies and Emerson are not the greatest in the air. They did well. But, if you look at it against Everton, we struggled in the air, conceded our first corner, a goal from a corner. The penalty is from a corner. We lacked that presence. And even though Dyer's had a lot of problems and with other aspects of the game, I think you can't fault his qualities as a man and a leader. And I think we lacked that yesterday. So I was disappointed that he was not played yesterday.
So you use the word rotation. That's what I was sort of suggesting. By the way, Deki will be rotated next game.
Yeah, no choice, right? Yeah. But this was probably the threshold was this game. The 5-card threshold was this game. So you've got a guy that's high workload, really tired, on 4 yellow cards, and we still played him. And I understand that you want to win the game and you want to play your best players, but yesterday probably called for a little bit of pragmatism with the squad. And
Yeah,
you know, how
we
well did the young
needed
boys
to
do when
rotate,
they came on?
Yeah.
They were fresh. I mean, more than good, they were fresh. They were hustling. They put that Brighton team, who were also tired, who also had injuries, they put them under pressure, harassed them, forced them back, and the game. Yeah, you know, I wouldn't have been surprised if that game ended up 4-4. Deki had a brilliant chance. The Vellies missed a chance. Brian didn't shoot when he should have shot. Hooiberg hit the post, you know, and it just goes to show sometimes what fresh legs can do for you in that last 20 minutes. And I think the subs took too long to come on, and they have been taking too long to come on in most games. And some of these boys have put their hands up, and I wouldn't be surprised to see. You know, I think the next game is Son available. The next game, I don't think he is.
Against Bournemouth, I think he is.
He's available then. I think he's going away on the 2nd of January, so this will be his last game.
But you're
David,
right.
you've been waiting to say something.
Sorry.
Come on.
Yeah, he's out. No, I'm agreeing with A. Sorry. I don't think Hill was very good yesterday. I thought he did have a lot of like hustle about him, but he can't beat a player actually, and there's no point having a winger that can't beat a player. He just can't. He can do a step over, but then he just runs straight into the player. He never beats his man. I don't know if he's ever beaten his man. I don't know if he ever will. So I kind of feel like, yeah, well, I don't think we have much choice, and we probably should play him. But if we could upgrade him this window or next summer, then I think we should, because he's never going to make it. Never going to make it. That player, never going to make it.
The word is that.
Can I give a different suggestion?
Okay, go for it.
You know, what was wrong with bringing Dyer at centre back and Royal at right back, and it's all familiar, and letting Udogie do what he does really well. He was wonderful driving forward.
Yeah.
And he created tons just attacking. He didn't have to worry about defense at the end. We were going gun ho. And if you look at that you look at that in retrospect and say that could have worked, you know, experienced centre back and let the young guys go for it. So maybe that's an option for the next game.
You'd have Porro further forward. You mean you'd have Royal on right back and Porro on right wing?
Sorry, I mean either way, you could have Royal doesn't do a bad job at left back when he's not ideal, but when we're chasing the game and we short of let's say quality wing forward options or attacker from midfield, I see no reason why we can't push Udogie forward or Porro forward and sub a Royal on either side for one of them, just to create something different. Porro would definitely cross the ball better than any of the other options we had. And if you look at Udogie, he got to the byline over and over again. He beat his man, he got crosses in, and he created havoc for them. And to me, I was standing there looking at this game, was crying out for that. And we just didn't do it.
I think there may have been potentially too much changing around of players from their standard positions when we've already got a disrupted backline. I'm kind of on the fence about playing Dyer at the back, or playing Emerson at the back. I understand why he's not playing Dyer. He can't look and say, right, okay, I'm going to build a backup defense using Dyer, because we don't know if he's going to be here in a few weeks. I think he's saying, right, I'm going to stick with the players I've got that I know want to be here, that I know are going to be here until the end of the season. And if I need to draft them in, they'll have got more minutes under their belts, and they'll have a little bit more of an understanding of the way the team works. I don't think it worked yesterday. I thought that first goal was very definitely down to Emerson getting caught out. He got sucked into the middle, and Hinshelwood got a free strike on goal. So, I didn't think that worked very well at all. Again, my biggest gripe, I keep saying this time and time again.
No, sorry.
Hooiberg.
Stu, the first goal was Sonny not tracking back.
That was part of it. That was the end.
That was part of it.
Like,
But you could,
towards
if
the end
you
part.
watch
had
the
three players to manage over in the middle, and he left the youngster from Brighton completely on his own in the left hand on our left channel, and Sonny, and this is again, it's fatigue. Sonny not tracking back,
Sonny didn't track back, but I'm pretty sure it was Royal that got sucked into the middle, but just as the pass was played, and it left Hinshelwood completely free, which is, you know, the way I saw it anyway. As I said in the match thread, I could be completely wrong because that is very well known to happen. But yeah, but I also, you know, I think Højbjerg, however good he's been for us coming on as a starter, I think he's negative and doesn't do us a lot of good. You know, every time he started a game this season, we've played poorly.
He was better in the last 20 minutes, but the first hour or so, he does this thing where he kind of hides from the ball. Like he like where you need your number 6 to come and make himself available to pick up the ball and and move it on. He sits there marked. He sits there hidden by one of their players, and he's not available for the pass. And he does that quite often, and it does annoy me.
And that's his
I
job.
don't think he's as bad as some people say, but that was, you know, Højbjerg is one of the ones that shouldn't be tired. You know, he's one of the ones that I expect Ange was counting on to have a bit of oomph about him, and he didn't until the last 20 minutes. You know,
so apparently he, Eric Dyer and Hugo Lloris have all been told they can find a new club for free, or not for free. Not in Højbjerg's case, there's going to be a fee involved, but he's been told that he's free to leave and find a new club.
Who are they? Dyer,
Eric Dyer's been told he can find a new club, and they won't expect a fee for him. And Lloris, by the sound of it, is signing for a club in the MLS.
Yeah,
playing my hometown club.
Yeah, LA.
Yeah, so there you go. You can get to go watch Lloris play.
Not really.
But so, I mean, I think we're going to see some outs, certainly, and we've still got injured players. So I think there's definitely going to be some ins over January. Apparently, Ange has asked for a centre-back, midfielder, and a left winger come striker, which sounds very much like a Jota type player. So maybe Jota. We'll see.
Can I just say one thing very positive about the match yesterday?
Of course.
Veli's got his first goal. And I thought
Veli's got his first goal. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh, he scuffed that. When I first saw it, I thought he scuffed it. And then I look at it, you looked at it again, he actually put that ball in pretty much the only place the goalkeeper had zero chance of getting to it. It may not have looked completely clean and tidy, but it was a decent finish at the end of it. He knocked it down into the ground, which is what you're supposed to do. And it bounced out of the goalkeeper's reach. If he'd tried to go back across the goal, they could well gone a different way. I thought he did very well there.
Yeah, and
he hustled them. He occupied the defense. He really occupied their centre backs, and that created a lot of space. He chased everything down. I was very impressed with him. He's raw, but you know, you like that. You want that rawness, and I thought there's the other positive is it's like in days gone by, that could have been a lot worse at the end. After 4-0, we would fade away even worse. Refund the fans, if you like, and those boys came on and they salvaged some pride.
If it hadn't been for Vicario, that would have been 6. Vicario pulled out the fire on that one.
Easy.
Yeah.
Plenty,
he was superb. And he was not happy at the end of the game.
Yeah,
at the end of the match,
and I don't blame.
There's a shot of him going down the tunnel and he's whacking the wall. He is not happy. Like, Vicario, protect those hands, please, because we absolutely need you. So yes, let's not have any more injuries, please. Okay,
Captain material.
Yeah, very well. I'm not a big fan of goalkeepers as captains, but yeah, he's definitely got the right kind of mentality. Let's look forward to Bournemouth. Bournemouth are actually in a good vein of form right now, much better than we are. By the way, we've conceded 19 goals since the start of November. That's more than any other Premier League club. I think that tells you the kind of issues we have. We are setting the pace for goals conceded. So Bournemouth, 2 days away. I looked at this one and thought this was the easiest of the matches that we had. So I'm still confident, despite the fact that we're probably going to be, well, we're going to have to play yet more rotated players because Kulusevski is now out. Maybe Dyer can come back in because I think Dyer probably matches up reasonably well against Solanke. But I suspect Emerson will be at the back with Davis. But do things start getting better from there? We've got a game on the 5th against Burnley in the FA Cup. Any chance of getting a player in before then?
I think it's going to get worse. I think they have a really good coach, and they're starting to play his way now. Took a while. And then Solanke, I like Solanke a lot. And he's scoring lots of headed goals. They're getting in lots of crosses, and he's a fantastic header of the ball, and then he's poaching, and then he's running in. He looks the player that he always promised to be. And he's going to be a handful. I think if we play Davies and Royal at centre back, he's going to have a field day in the air. Then it's really up to Vicario and whoever's picking up the second ball. I think it's going to be a tough game.
So you're advocating playing Dyer in that game?
Which game?
Yeah, I would.
Bournemouth.
Remember, Dyer's also he's aiming to leave on a free, which means he's probably going to see after 6 months. I know there's talk about Spurs letting him go early on a free, but he only leaves at the end of the season if that doesn't happen. And considering we've got suspensions and injuries and no backup, I would keep him and I would play him. That's just me. I mean, he's not any slower than Davies. It's something else with him.
I think the other option that's been talked about.
Royal's particularly quick.
I think he's quicker, but I don't think he's got great acceleration.
No.
I don't think any of them do, apart from Udogie. So Udogie's pretty decent, getting a burst of pace.
I like Emerson. I feel like every squad needs a Davies and an Emerson.
Yeah.
Emerson just gets on with it. Yeah, all heart. I can't fault him. He's being asked to play out of position. He's going to make a few mistakes.
Emerson's a great cheerleader.
And he never hides. It doesn't matter how many mistakes he makes. It doesn't matter what happens in the game. Emerson shows up. He shows up. He tries his best. 96 minute, 4-0, 4-2 down, whatever. Emerson's bombing forward. He's carrying the ball out. He's trying to do something, and I admire that. I admire and he's great for the squad, the morale, and he always left back, right back, centre back. He's played almost across the back four. And
I wouldn't mind seeing him in right back in the next match and Porro push further forwards.
Yeah,
which we did last season.
With that as well.
Under Mason.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing it. Yeah.
Start for Lo Celso.
I think that's what we're going to say. I think we see Lo Celso come in for Decky. Is the most likely option, and as little disruption as possible. I think.
Doesn't this make Basuma's idiocracy? Is that a word?
Idiocy.
Idiocy, just even more hurtful because it's just like you think like, okay, you got Lo Celso and you got Sarr, and if you just had Basuma, it would have been so much better. You could play the way you want to, and that's a big. And I think he's other than start, he's had a poor season. He hasn't been as good as he started, of course, but it would have been nice to have that extra option. And these suspensions are really killing us.
I think Basuma's form has dropped off since Maddison got injured because it's just freed up other players that can press Basuma, whereas before they needed to make sure they had someone covering Maddison at all times, and he was still so good that he was creating chances for everyone else. So, I mean, we'll see when everyone comes. Hopefully, by the end of January, we will have an 80% fit squad, which would be very, very nice. With players back in crucial areas, we'll have Van der Ven, maybe even Romero. We'll have Maddison back. we probably won't have Son by that point, but hopefully Richarlison will be back scoring goals, and somebody out left will be doing something. Who knows?
We'll have Sessegnon back.
Sessegnon is apparently with the squad now, training with the squad, actually out on the field. So yeah, okay.
I'm kidding.
Poor lad. He's had a rough run. What can you do?
Yeah.
I do feel sorry for him. He's had a really rough go of it. You know, he's had nearly 2 full years injured. So.
But no, going back to Bournemouth, I would like to see Rael at right back, Porro further forwards on the right, Skippy as the number 6.
Yeah,
Lo Celso over on the left. I suppose we don't have much choice but to keep playing Sonny, which is a shame because he looks absolutely out on his feet. Sarr was the other midfielder. Richarlison. And you're noticing I'm not saying Brennan Johnson.
Sarr didn't have a great game. Sarr misplaced quite a few passes. For him, it was you know.
Yeah, but he's solid. He's good.
He's solid.
But it's true, he wasn't great yesterday. But you know, but I'm saying.
But who was? Let's be honest.
I wouldn't mind
Beyond
leaving Brennan Johnson.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind leaving Brennan Johnson on the bench after yesterday and a couple of other matches that I've seen.
He's a funny one. You get used to him being somewhat okay-ish, and then he'll pull out a few things that you go, yeah, there's a really good player in there, and then he'll very quickly go back to okay-ish. So again, he came in after the season had started, you know, right at the end of the transfer window. He's not really had time to sit down or have a lot of training with the manager, because it's just been game after game after game after game. So
but can you
maybe
imagine,
later on,
if you imagine Porro playing as a right winger, getting crosses into Richarlison, that I think can produce something for us. You know, which means Dyer in central defence.
Well,
yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down, David. I'm on the same track. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Nah, seriously, I agree. I think Johnson's a great young player. His weaknesses are showing up because he's a bit more under scrutiny, and he's inconsistent because he's young and he has a lot to learn. Can be very good. He's going to be very, very good, I think.
He will be. Yeah.
But at the moment, he's had a good run, and maybe he needs to see that there are other options, and it might actually spur him on to greater things. So yeah, I would also do the same, and I think everybody's tired. It's a lot of runner games, not just us, just Bournemouth as well. I think bringing him on with his pace in the last 20, he'll probably get more joy.
And maybe Brian
Hill be good for his confidence.
Maybe Brian Hill for Son, but I don't think that'll happen. I think they'll want to get one last match out of him before it goes off.
I think we need goals, and as knackered as Sonny is, he's going to score more goals than the other options. So I think we tried the same thing really hard first 15, 20 minutes, try and get a couple of goals, and then try and manage the game on. I think it's going to be that way, and if we don't do that, we're going to be in trouble. And if you notice the patterns of play, every game that the opposition has gotten a foothold early, we've struggled in. So
it's not very often that we don't score the first goal. But as I said, we don't have long to go. It's only day after tomorrow, Bournemouth, so we'll be back the day after that. And then we've got a relatively light schedule, so hopefully we'll be able to get a bit more downtime on the training pitch and getting everything set up, and maybe we can see clearer skies from here on in. So okay, let's call it a day there, and I will be back on New Year's Day to do another video with whoever else can make it. I'm going to try and do it so we do it on YouTube Live as well. So if anybody's bored, you know, instead of watching the typical films that are constantly re-released, just join in on YouTube and let's see how it goes. Until then, everybody, thank you very, very much for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Until then, come on, you Spurs.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye. Happy holidays.
Everybody.